Good morning, everyone. My name is Shubha. I have successfully transitioned my career from teaching to data science stream. From last 2 years, I'm closely working on data science project. Before that, I have 6 years of experience as an assistant professor in engineering college. So first of all, thanks to Coding Nest team for giving me this opportunity to present my work on revenue prediction project. So the project which we are going to discuss in this meetup can be found in Kaggle. I am assuming that whoever is attending this meetup has basic understanding on data science and its life cycle. So I'll try my best to make this project very easy for you to understand and will make sure that we follow data science life cycle. So before we jump data science life cycle, so let's understand what is the problem we are going to solve today. So now this is my project overview. So now TFI basically it stands for TAF Food Investment. TAF Food Investment is the company behind some of the world's most well-known brand, Burger King, Sbarro, Popeyes, and Arby's. So they employ over 20,000 people in Europe and Asia and make significant daily investment in developing new restaurant sites. So the goal of this project is to predict the annual revenue of their restaurant. So finding a mathematical model to increase the effectiveness of investment in new restaurant site would allow TFI to invest more in other people business area and other important business area like sustainability, innovation, and training for a new employee. So this is my data set. So basically, TFI data set consists of train and test data. So generally in Kaggle, in any other data set, we get one data set file, which we split into train and test data. So as of 30 and 30 70 or 70-30% ratio. So what this is interesting data set, as we have 137 record in train data which we will use to train our model, and train model will be used to predict the revenue for 1 lakh record. So let's understand the column we have in train data. So our train data column is 43. Now there are 43 column available in our train data. So first column is ID. ID is nothing but it's a restaurant ID. Now next column is open date. Open date is the date that the restaurant opened in the format of month, date, and year. Now, next column is city. So, city is nothing but the city name that the restaurant resides in. And next column is city group. The type of the city can be either a big city or other. And the type of the restaurant where FC is a food court, IL, it's a inline, DT is a drive through, and mobile. So now another column is P variable. P variable is the range up to P1 to P37. So in this, there are three categories. First is the demographic. So demographic example of demographic is population, age, and gender. And next is the real estate data. Real estate data is, for example, car parking availability and front facade. And next is the commercial data. Commercial data like point of interest, other vendors, etc. So it is unknown if each variable contain a combination of the three categories or mutually exclusive. So now next column is the revenue. So it's my target column. So annual revenue of a restaurant in a given year and is the target to be predicted. So this all about the data set. In our train data set, there are 43 columns available. So now let's move to the data science life cycle. So now these are my phases of data science life cycle. So data science has a life cycle where everyone has to travel. So there are these are the phases: business requirement, data acquisition, exploratory data analysis, feature engineering, modeling building, and deployment. So now, first phase is business requirement. So it is extremely important to understand the business objective clearly, because that will be your final goal of the analysis. So now next phase is the data acquisition. Data acquisition, every time we have a data acquired from Kaggle or other databases like AWS, Google Toolbox, Microsoft, Twitter, UCI machine learning, etc. So now next phase is the exploratory data analysis. So after business understanding, the next step is data understanding. This step involve describing the data, their structure, their relevance, their data types. So explore the data using graphical plot, basically extracting any information that you can get about the data by just exploring the data. So now next phase is the feature engineering or a feature selection. So next comes to the feature selection stage. This include a step like selecting the relevant data, integrating the data by merging the data set, and cleaning it, creating the missing values by either removing them or imputing them. So these all about the feature engineering step or feature selection. So now next phase is the modeling building. Is nothing but it's a data modeling. So data modeling is the heart of the data analysis. A model takes the prepared data as input and provide the desired output. So this step include choosing the appropriate type of model. So whether the problem is a classification problem, whether the problem is a regression problem or a clustering problem. So after choosing the model family, so various algorithm available in that family. So we need to so we need to carefully choose the algorithm to implement, and we need to tune the hyperparameter of each model to achieve the desired performance. So now last phase is the deployment part. So this is the final step in the data science life cycle. So we achieve a good accuracy, then deploy it. So it's all about the data science life cycle. And let's move to the code. So in this code, we use a Python library. So basically, Python library make our life easier. We require these library to make our task easier. So let's import some of the important libraries. So these are all are the important libraries. So let's import this. Basically, import NumPy as NP, import Pandas as PD. It is used for analysis part. Import matplotlib.pyplot as PLT, import Seaborn as SNS. It is used for visualization part, and it's a sklearn family. So from sklearn.ensemble, so basically it is used to import an ensemble method, and it's used for model selection, and it's used for feature selection. So now next step is reading the CSV. So as we
Shubha
can,
ma'am,
yes sir.
maybe you can share this notebook, means you can share your link,
Okay.
yeah, GitHub link. Yeah.
Okay. My GitHub link is Shubha TWR, github.com. Shubha TWR. Okay, this code is available on GitHub, and the link is Shubha TWR. Okay,
Yeah, thanks.
yeah, let's move ahead. So now next step is reading the CSV. As we can see on the Kaggle, we go to the data set. So generally we use one data set file in any project where we split it training and test. But here we got train and test data separate. So let's load these data set by using the read CSV method. CSV is a comma separated file, and this is our train data and this is our test data. So now load the train data as well as test data. So now train data dot head. Train data dot head, it display the top 5 record of our data set. So now my data set look like ID, open date, city, city group, type, and the column is P1, P2 up to P37 and revenue. So there are 43 column available in our data set. Let's move ahead. So once I have loaded the train data, it is very much important for me to know the data type of those columns. So to check the data type, I simple use info method. So info method is nothing but basically it's a schema part, and it display the number of rows and the number of columns. So my number of rows is 137, and my number of column is 43, and these all are my data type. On further going on understanding the data, it would be very much important for me to know what are my numerical column and what are my categorical column. So with the help of this, numerical column equal to train data dot select underscore data type exclude object dot column. So it display the numerical column. So my numerical column look like ID P1 up to P37 and revenue. So these are my numerical column. And for categorical column, so categorical column is categorical column equal to train data dot select underscore data type dot column. So these are my categorical column: open date, city group and type. So these are my categorical column. So guys, any query? So now this is all about the train data. So since I have also loaded the test data, so let's see how my top 5 rows look like. So here I can see that I don't have revenue column like what we have in train data. So this is because we have built a model using train data and predict the revenue for test data. So now my test data look like these are column available in our test data. So ID, open date, city, city group, type, P1 up to P37, and the revenue column is only revenue column is missing in our test data. So now let's see the shape of our train data and test data. So my train data consists of 137 rows and 43 columns available in our train data, and our test data 1 lakh record and 42 column available in our test data. So now next step is pre-processing and some analysis. So it is basically it's an exploratory data analysis. So once we have done our initial understanding on the data set, let's do some pre-processing and analysis on data. So first step for data analysis is checking the missing value. So now with the help of is any method, we check the missing value. So in our data set, in our trained data set, there are no missing value available. So there are no missing value available. So now let's move ahead. So this is okay. So we have a column as open date, and we have to calculate calculated column as open days. Open days now by taking a benchmark date that is 1st January 2018. So we have to calculate a open days column with the help of this formula. So now my open days is equals to benchmark date minus open date for train data. So now this is my open date for train data. So now 1st January 2018 minus this. So now we have to calculate a open days. So once I do a head, on my training data set, I can see additional column. It's a open days. So now I have created one more column, that is a open days. So my train data, previously my train data contain a 43 column, and this data set, what this data set contain a 44 column. So now comparing the revenue of the big cities and other cities. So basically, let's do some more data analytics using Sevan library by plotting some chart. So let me do a comparison of a revenue of a city group. So I can see big city has much revenue. I can see big city has much revenue compared to other. So now next is sorting the city by revenue, getting the max on city. So again, let me check city wise. So top 10 city maximum revenue generation. So maximum revenue generation. So basically it's an descending order. Ascending is equals to fall. This is an descending order. So now my Istanbul generate a maximum revenue. So on similar, I can found what are my top 10 least revenue generation city. So my least revenue generation city is this. This city generate a least revenue. So guys, any query? Okay, let's move ahead. Next plot is getting an insight of which restaurant type earn more. So now we have a three category like drive through and food court and inline. So also what kind of restaurant type is generating more revenue, I can see with this plot. So now FC is a food court generating the maximum revenue. Okay, so let's move ahead on next plot. So plot about working days of a specific restaurant type. So now this is my open days or it's a working days. So DT is DT is more working days compared to these two. So now this is my train data. My train data contain a 44 column ID, open date, city group type, P1 up to P37 revenue and open days. Now next step is for feature selection. We do the correlation part. So correlation is an interrelationship between the dependent variable and the independent variable. So now it's a heat map. So basically, it's generate the highly correlated variable or lowest correlated variable. So now the lighter region generate the highest correlation, and the darker region showing the lowest correlation. Okay. So now correlation for revenue column. So now these all are my positively correlated variable, and these are my negative correlated variable. So now P1, so now these are my P2, P28, P6, P21, P11, P22, P1, P17, P7, P23, P25, P4, P19, and so on. So these are positively correlated variable. So we can use these feature in building the model. So now we should drop all the irrelevant column. So now my irrelevant column is open date, because we have a new column as open date, so it is not required. So now we will drop the irrelevant column which we are not going to use. So now drop the open date and
Ma'am, how to
ID
use correlation values?
in model building. Hello, yeah.
Ma'am, how to use correlation values? Like you found out the correlation values for all the columns.
Yes. So this is positively correlated and this is negatively correlated. Then we use a random forest for positive correlation. Now my accuracy is different. So we use a random forest. Then my accuracy is different for positive correlation. So now we consider all the features. So now my accuracy is different. So now we consider all the features for positive and negative correlation. Then the accuracy is improved. Clear? Or in feature selection, we use some other method like embedded method and tree based method. So basically we use this method in finding a feature selection.
Yeah, basically there are number of steps there in feature selection. Correlation is like part of like a filter methods. So in filter methods itself, we have a number of things and correlation part of it. Then we normally go for embedded method and then we have a wrapper methods. So basically it's a number of steps one has to do it in that feature selection part of it. And correlation is the same for like your filter based feature selection technique. Yeah, ma'am, go ahead.
Okay, sir. Thank you. Okay, so now we drop the open date and ID. So my train data dot head. So my train data look like this: city, city group, type, P1 up to P37, revenue, open days. So now my train data has 42 column only. So as in our data set, we can see a categorical column as a city group. So let's see some dummy values for this column. So as you can see now, we have created two column for city group, big cities and other cities. So converting dummy data for a categorical column city group. So now my database data set look like city, type. Now my column is P1 up to P37, revenue, open days. Now these are two column available. That's for city group, big cities and other. Okay. So now next step is data pre-processing for test data. Similarly, we will do all the data manipulation in test data. So what we have done for training data. So similarly, we have open date, and now we have to calculate a open days. So benchmark date is this first January 2015. So now we have to calculate a open days with the help of this formula: benchmark date minus open date for test data. So open date for test data, and now we will drop the column like open date, and similarly we create a city group column for big cities and other cities. We use a get dummy method. So now my test data look like ID, city, type, P1 up to P37. Now my column is open days, big cities and other. So now these are my 43 column available in our test data. So next step is data preparation for model building. So now this is for this is for so we are using all the positively correlated feature from numerical column along with. So these are my numerical column along with all the other feature from categorical column. So this is my train data and this is my test data, and we have considered all the positively correlated variable. So now for a standard scalar, so now we use a standard scalar as well as we use a min max scalar. So in this we use a standard scalar. So standard scalar basically it standardizes the feature by removing the mean and scaling to unit variance. And basically it is used for model efficiency. So now from sklearn dot pre-processing import standard scalar. So now we use a standard scalar for xtrain. We use fit transform method. For xtest we use a transform method. So that once our data is ready, and since this is a regression problem, so let's use the simple regression model in first and check how it behaves. So now we use a linear regression. So from sklearn import linear regression. So first of all we create a linear regression object. So now we have created a linear regression object. Now next is train the model using the training set with the help of fit method. So now next make the prediction using the testing set. So checking my accuracy. So my accuracy is 25%, which is really bad. So let's try with some other regression algorithm. Now my next algorithm is random forest. So any question? Okay. So we are training the model with random forest regressor. So now we applying a random forest regressor. Now my accuracy is around 88.4%. Okay. So then we are training the model with other regressor like XGBoost regressor. So now my accuracy is improved. My accuracy is around 95.7%. Okay, so we have considered only positively correlated variable. Now, next step, we have considered all the variable, that is positively correlated variable as well negatively correlated variable. So this is my train data and this is my test data. So these all about my train data and these all about my test data. So now we are using a linear regression. So before that, we have to select a positively correlated, then my accuracy is 25%. So then we are using all the features. So now my accuracy is improved, that is 37.8%. And next, we use a random forest regressor, then my accuracy is 88.6, and previously my accuracy is 87%. And for XGBoost now my accuracy is 96.5%, approx it's a 97%. So we are using a random forest and XGBoost regressor. So what is random forest regressor and what is XGBoost regressor? So now random forest regressor. So random forest is an ensemble of decision tree. So basically it's an ensemble method. So this is to say that many trees constructed in a certain random way form a random forest. A random forest is a meta estimator that fits a number of classifying decision tree on various subsample of the dataset and uses averaging to improve the predictive accuracy and control overfitting. So now this is the random forest. Random forest basically it's an ensemble method. So now these are some advantage and disadvantage of random forest. So advantage of random forest is it is one of the most accurate learning algorithm available for many dataset. It produces a highly accurate result and it runs efficiently on large database. And disadvantage, training a large data set can have high computational cost and use a lot of memory. And another disadvantage is prediction are slower, so which may create challenges for application. And for XGBoost stands for extreme gradient boosting. So it is a supervised learning algorithm. It is a library for developing fast and high performance gradient boosting tree model. So XGBoost is a decision tree based ensemble machine learning algorithm that uses a gradient boosting framework. And so now advantage and disadvantage of XGBoost is this. So XGBoost utilize the power of parallel processing, and that is why it is much faster than XGBoost has an built capability to handle missing values. And disadvantage only work with numeric feature and lead to overfitting if hyperparameter are not tuned properly. So this is all about random forest and XGBoost regressor. So now this is the conclusion of this project. During this project, we learn a lot of skills of data science and machine learning with using different techniques. So starting from analysis the data, analysis the data preparation, feature selection, and finally building the model. We have followed the data science project life cycle. So initially we have applied a simple linear regression. algorithm, but due to bad accuracy, we moved to the random forest regressor and then XGBoost regressor and able to achieve 95 accuracy. But we believe that we can improve it more by tuning the hyperparameter. So this is all about the revenue prediction project, and now we achieve our accuracy is 95%. And any query?
Guys, I have shared you the link. So today's class, so this meetup video would be available under YouTube. Please subscribe to this channel, and we'll upload this by today evening. I have also shared that Shubha's work. I have shared her GitHub link as well. So maybe you can copy her work from there. I have shared you another work as well, so which you can find in github.com/codingnest. Anyone has any questions for Shubha?
Can you please explain the when to use linear regression, when to use random forest, when to use exposure, that things once again, madam?
Yeah, Anji, basically, yeah. So to start with, basically we normally starting with linear regression, multiple variables. Then we
Yes.
move to that polynomial regression part of it. Then afterwards, we have a number of regression technique, like we have support vector regressor, decision tree regressor. Then we move to that embedded method. So embedded methods, we start with random forest regressor. We have ADA boost regressor. We have gradient boosting regressor. And nowadays, the latest is XGBoost regressor. The performance of XGBoost regressor is much better because it provides like extreme gradient boosting. Basically, here not only we tune that subsequent modeling, plus we also tune those regularized hyperparameters. And there we do not need to worry about how the data looks like. So like in regression, we have to look every time whether it's basically following that pattern like normal or Gaussian distribution. So those things being taken care by that gradient SZ boost regressor because of that number of estimators it uses internally in tuning that regularization work. So that's why these are like cutting edge algorithms which are like available, and this definitely gives us a much better accuracy as compared to a linear regressor. And nowadays all the Kaggle project going ahead maybe like 2012 onwards is one only because of that XGBoost regressor or classification technique. So this is used for both regressor as well as classifier.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, madam.
Okay, any query? Any questions?
Guys,
Thank
this is a total open forum. Maybe if you have any queries, you can ask us. And if anyone wants to present any work of your own which you wanted to present with us, so definitely we are open to this. Just let us know. Our email ID is coffee@codingnest.in. So let me share you everyone. Please do subscribe to this YouTube channel, and you will get this update once that video is available.
Sir, I was hoping that if there is any discussion channel available, like
Yeah, yeah.
on Slack or Telegram.
Um, at the moment, we are not using both. Maybe I can add you in that WhatsApp channel. So let me share you the number again. Yeah.
Sir, I messaged you yesterday.